When the Culling 2 released last week, basically no one played it. I mean, almost literally no one. Within days there were just 2 people online. 2! Well, in a pretty stunning U-turn, developers Xaviant, as I now realise you pronounce it, have already pulled the plug.
The Culling 2 launched on PC, PS4 and Xbox One pretty much out of the blue over a week ago. And that's when the problems started. The $20 Battle Royale game was hammered with negative reviews on Steam, and the limited number of people playing on day one had plummeted into the single digits within just 2 days. Why did it get such a downright hostile reaction on launch? Well, the first Culling game entered early access in March of 2016, finally releasing in full in October of 2017. Around the time everyone was playing another Battle Royale title you may have heard of, PUBG. But the Culling's early access version was one of the earliest games to do the whole Battle Royale thing. It had a game show type presentation pitting 16 players against one another in an arena of buildings and loot, focusing more on melee combat rather than third-person shooting.
By December 2017, though, just 2 months after the game launched in full, developer Xaviant effectively canned the game, saying there would be no future updates. 7 months later, they came out with the Culling 2 out of nowhere, rather than continue to support the original. Early access backers were furious and reviews were almost entirely negative, critical mainly of both the game's technical issues and the fact it lost its identity by moving closer to the PUBG way of doing things. IGN even ran with a headline, "The Culling 2 is a stunning flop you should probably avoid." So after a reaction like that, it might not be entirely surprising to see the developer pull the plug on the game, even if it is just a week or so later. So the reaction was very, very negative in terms of both critical kind of reviews of people writing online about how the game was bad and should be avoided, and just in terms of raw numbers, no one was playing it. Like the player counts they made Lawbreakers' launch look good, in my opinion. It was honestly, it was very, very low, and this is something that they have had to acknowledge very quickly by basically canning the game straight away.
I think it's funny, you looked at their Twitter account at the time and they tweeted the meme of their house on fire. That's right. And the guy's just sitting there saying everything's fine. That was literally what was happening.
Yeah, they knew.
It was quite funny.
They knew.
Xaviant posted an announcement video on its YouTube channel this week where Director of Operations Josh Van Velde made some big announcements. First, the Culling 2 is getting pulled from the store shelves on all platforms, and anyone that bought the game will be giving refunds. Quote, "Last week we launched the Culling 2 and that launch was not successful." Stunning understatement there. Not successful. House fire is what it was. The quote continues, "The Culling 2 was not a game that you asked for, and it's not the game that you expected as a worthy successor to the Culling." The second announcement is just as significant. Xaviant are restarting development of the Culling 1 and going back to the day one build of the game, the version of the game that launched back in March 2016. Not only that, but it is going free to play. Here's Josh Van Velde again, quote, "What we see is that there's a tremendous value in the day one build of the Culling. We've gotten to get to know the game in its original form again, and I can tell you that it's a lot of fun." Xaviant acknowledged that the speed of change and updates on the base game had been too quick, admitting the game was changed out from under the players through early access. That's something Van Velde apologised for specifically. It seems the antidote to that now is to keep the day one build of the Culling live on their test servers to serve as a reference point to look back to.
Developers are now working on the first update for the Culling 1, with the plan being to take the October 2017 build that is currently live and modify that so that every single aspect of gameplay matches the day one build from March 2016. So their first move is essentially to reset the entire game. The Culling won't go free to play until that update goes live sometime later this year. Players that bought the game originally will be able to play the day one build on test servers. Xaviant had changed the game so much during early access that they lost the initial vision of the game and didn't know how to take it back. Van Velde said, quote, "We didn't see a path forward, so we turned it off and moved on to something else. And in retrospect, that was a mistake."
One of many mistakes that they made during the course of the past 2 years, I feel. And it's so surprising this, because I've never seen an example of this that's happened before, where a developer has literally said, well, you know what we've done over the last 2 years? well, we were just basically going to forget about that. All the decisions that we made, all the bad decisions, because they were really bad decisions, right? They just hit and reset on all of that, and they've made one good decision in 2 years, and that's to go back to the early build of the game. And to be fair to them, that's where they need to start. Make one good decision after another, and you know, maybe the future's bright.
This is going to be very difficult for them as developers, as professional people, as creative people, to admit that they've had to do an enormous U-turn, and I genuinely wish them success from this point. They're giving the original one away for free eventually when they kind of update that game. Like you said, they've got 2 years worth of work here that they've having to scrap, basically, because they were moving forward too quickly, they were changing the game too much with the base game, and then they come out with the Culling 2, which they've been working on for several months, and then they've cancelled that immediately. That's gone now. That's just been deleted, basically. It's got to be a very difficult position for them. I like the tone of the video a lot that they've put out, and it's definitely worth watching if you've any interest in the culling, because it's quite actually it's not quite, it is very frank and it's very open, and they flat out say, we did this, that was a mistake. We did this, we apologise for that. They completely acknowledge almost everything I can think of looking from the outside, and it's worth a watch.
It's a huge thing having the community on board with you as you go in creating anything like this, and I feel like this is a step closer to winning the fans back, because they're being open, they're being honest, they're acknowledging what mistakes that they made, and they're being, you know, frank about the future and things like that. One thing they didn't share was what the medical bills were for the whiplash that they served, that they got from the 180, because that's got to be quite a bill, right? And as somebody who was one of the original backers, I bought the day one version, like the original early access version, and I played it and I enjoyed it. And the fact that they are bringing that back really, really excites me. I'll be honest, I'll check it out again. A first-person crafting-based battle royale game. It really is different to what people are putting out there now, and this whole story is another lesson for people who are just bringing out PUBG clones right now. It's like maybe not a great idea when you look at the Culling team, how badly that crashed and burned. So
it's not even the only example. I mean, we brought up Lawbreakers earlier. I mean, look what they came out with. Look what the developers of Lawbreakers did after Lawbreakers. They did Radical Heights, a battle royale game which immediately, very much like this one, just didn't pick up enough traffic. People just didn't care about it. The battle royale thing is, of course, is a gold rush at the moment, but it's a gold rush that is dominated by 2 or 3 players max, and there's very little room for anyone else, I think, at the moment. So this might have a lot of people who are working on battle royale games right now a little bit nervous.
And talking of being in touch with your community, let's take a look at some of your comments.
I thought you were going to say that. Talking of being a bit nervous, first up, commenting on our Aliens Colonial Marines video from this week, Dances with Sloths says, McDonald's hamburgers always look better in the picture too. Which is a very good analogy. That's very true. It's not just in gaming that you get a bull shot. You ever seen these burgers? These big juicy burgers, and then you get it and it's like, what the, that's not what that is.
On our pre-orders video this week, Cloney says, I am German and I did not hear about this yet. You guys are good.
Do you know why I like that?
Like fishing like the Germans.
It's like out of context. It's like, I'm German and I haven't heard of this. Like, the story happened in Germany, but if you didn't know that, that's, you know, it sounds like she's just saying Germans hear the news faster than everyone else.
I think the fact that a German is impressed with our efficiency, that's something.
And on this week's No Man's Sky video, RK Brilliant says, how cool would it be if you could invade territories with your dozens of armed freighters and attempt an occupation? Again, context very important in this one. We're talking about No Man's Sky, not actual real life naval occupations.
That is cool. That is a cool gameplay thing. If they can do that, I think pull it off. We'll see. We'll reserve judgment. Obviously, it's No Man's Sky.
That's what I like about this. Is when they were talking about this game initially, they were talking about the 18 quintillion planets and stuff. It's just a meaninglessly big number. But when you have that, you chuck that into the mix. What that number means is, if you're not interested in being conquered and invaded in big space battles, you can just fly away from it to any of the other quintillions of planets that there are out there, which is, you know what I mean? Just go somewhere else.
And on our channel update video, Jesse Chapman says, I come back and watch your videos because of your ripped seps. Get thicker, boys. He also comments, do a naked calendar. That's one way to make some money, right? Naked calendar. You up for that, Mike?
I feel so used. And commenting on this same video, You're Triggered asks, why do people wear watches? And why do you wear a watch, guys?
It's tell the time, isn't it, obviously?
I don't think I've ever worn a watch ever in my life, even as a small boy.
Well,
just not that interested in the time, I'll be honest.
There's a lot of reasons to wear a watch. You tell the time. There's like a fitness thing to it too. I guess I was born before like smartphones and that. Like I was 20 before I got my first.
You learn the value of a watch.
So what? Yeah, it's really important. Like I mean,
yeah.
I just like the idea of him not knowing what watches are for. Like why do you wear a watch?
So we're not triggered, all right? You're triggered. So the Culling's going free to play. Are you going to be playing it? And have you seen the video that they put out? Let us know what you thought about it down in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. There's another one right there which you could watch now if you want. And a link to Patreon if you do want to support the channel. Thank you for watching. See you next time.